talk. So my name is Lorna Vanderhaeg. I am a women's natural health expert. I have been in the nutritional medicine business now for 45 years. I've authored 13 books. 2 of them are on the immune system specifically. My very first book was The Immune System Cure, and it ended up in several countries and multiple languages and was an international bestseller. Today's talk is on the immune system and the gut. So we're going to cover a lot of different health conditions, because what I'm hoping you will learn by the time we're finished this presentation is that your immune system and the gut are where all of our problems begin. And when we say we don't know what's causing a disease, I think by the end of today's talk, you will realize that it's your gut and your immune system. So let's just go through and cover all this material. There's going to be, at the end, there's going to be 5 things that you are going to do to fix your gut and get your immune system working better. So 70% of your immune system resides in your gut. What is your gut? It's the tube that runs from your mouth to your butt. And I love this science article because they said it correct. The gut is the inner tube of life. So when we talk about the gut, it's this tube that goes from one end to the other. And the skin, what goes on inside our gut, will show up outside on our skin. So what does the gut do? It's involved in the breakdown and absorption of all of your nutrients, the elimination of waste products. The majority of the waste that the body has to clean up is caused by the food we eat. 70% of your immune system resides in your gut. Your digestive system is also involved in neurotransmitter production. One of them in particular, one hormone that we really care about that is made in the gut is serotonin, which is your happy hormone. So even things like depression, anxiety, low mood, all starts in the gut. And then the gut, the digestive system has this epithelial lining. And when in the stomach, especially when the lining starts to become damaged, this is when undigested particles end up inside the body instead of staying in the gut and traveling out the other end. And there are lots of illnesses that are associated with this as well. Let's talk about the gut microbiome. We hear a lot about the gut microbiome. Well, what is it? Well, it has beneficial bacteria, so those are the good guys. It has harmful bacteria, those are the bad guys. And then prebiotics. Prebiotics are what feed your good guys. So that's part of it. Aging, diet, and stress all play a role in how these all interact together. And aging is also involved in, your digestive system. Why does one person look younger than the other? Why does one person's skin look more beautiful than another? Let's talk about what's really going on in our gut. So we know that everything from irritable bowel syndrome, arthritis, and for those of you who are on the call today who've gone to your doctor with sore joints, if they haven't looked at your gut, they are missing the #1 reason that we develop things like osteoporosis and arthritis and a breakdown of our joints and our bones. Diabetes, obesity, skin conditions, allergies, liver disease, especially fatty liver, cancer, these are all associated with what is going on in the gut. Brain disease as well. They now know that Parkinson's, generally the very earliest warning signs of Parkinson's disease are gas, burping, bloating. So we need to pay attention to what's going on in our gut, and we need to have a really good, healthy gut microbiome. And there are probably people who are listening who are going, I'm taking probiotics, it's not doing anything. And we're going to talk about that in a minute, why they aren't. Almost twice as many women as men suffer from digestive health issues. 62% of people worldwide suffer from digestive complaints such as constipation, diarrhea, indigestion. I already talked about serotonin, your happy hormone. 95% of it is produced in the small intestine. And of course, 70% of our immune system is located in the gut. So when we have disruptions in the microbiome, which are the good bacteria, the prebiotics, and the bad bacteria, what conditions can we develop? Depression, oral health, for example, dental cavities. So if your teeth are falling apart, it has to do with your gut. Things like autism, ADHD, Parkinson's, spectrum disorder, things like all the dermatological conditions, cardiovascular disease, asthma, arthritis, obesity, diabetes, irritable bowel syndrome, infections, things like recurring vaginal infections, recurring bladder infections. So now that we know that the gut and the immune system is directly connected, and we know that most of our health conditions are rooted in that connection, we now also know that the gut and the brain are constantly in communication with one another. For example, your serotonin is made in your gut, but it is sent to your brain. Things like MS and pain syndromes and migraine and anxiety and depression and Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's, there is a direct connection from our gut to our brain. Antibiotics. Someone asked me about antibiotics before we started the talk today. And we know that antibiotics are a necessary factor when you actually have an infection, a bacterial infection, because antibiotics only work against bacterial infections. So when you go to the doctor and you're sick and they take a throat swab and then they write you a prescription for the antibiotic, you should wait until the results come back for your throat swab before you take the antibiotic, because if you don't have a bacterial infection, taking an antibiotic without knowing that you actually need it is very harmful. We know that prescription antibiotics can change the gut microbiome. It takes 2 months to recover, but it never goes back to its original state. So the composition of the bacteria in your gut are different and they're less diverse. So we only want to take antibiotics when we have to. And when I talk to you about what they're doing with some of our vegetables today, you're going to be shocked. And we have to remember that the constitution, so the makeup of those bacteria I talked about a few minutes ago in the gut can have a huge impact. So things like leaky gut, pain, autoimmune disorders, inflammation, allergies, basically everything. And I think by the end of this talk, you're going to realize that you've got to get your gut in great shape. Then we have prebiotics and probiotics. So most of us know what probiotics are. They're live microorganisms that when consumed in adequate amounts provide health benefits. That is the definition of a probiotic. A probiotic has to be alive and it has to actually be proven in clinical research to provide health benefits. One of the biggest problems with probiotics is a lot of them are dead and they are not a live probiotic anymore. They're now called a postbiotic and they may or may not have the health benefits, which is why I often get people emailing me and calling me and saying, I'm taking all these probiotics. It's not changing my gut. It's not changing my gut. They could be dead and they might not be doing anything. And they're very fragile. Probiotics are extremely fragile. They're vulnerable to heat. So if you live, say, in the summer and you order your probiotics and it's sent to you in, 100-degree weather or 27-degree Celsius weather, and it shows up, it may just not be alive. Prebiotics, on the other hand, are pretty cool because these are a special form of undigestible plant fiber that acts as food for the good bacteria in your gut. So we're going to talk a lot about B regular, which is a prebiotic fiber, and prebiotics are food for the probiotics that live in your gut. They're pretty special. They are very survivable. They survive heat and cold and acid. They even reach the hindgut. For those people who are on the call who may have SIBO, we want to be able to get all of these good guys to the back area of the gut where it can really make a difference. So how do probiotics affect your health? So we want to grow those probiotics in our gut. We want to make the good guys. So what do? They're involved in immunity. So we're going to talk a lot about the immune system. We also know that they're involved in obesity and weight gain. Why can one person eat all kinds of food and stay slim and another person cannot? It's ultimately down to their gut microbiome. So we have to get our gut microbiome in the place that we want it to be in order for us to be able to stay in a healthy weight. Inflammation. So I'm going to talk a lot about inflammation, so I won't talk about it here. Your gut bacteria, the probiotics and the gut bacteria, the microbiome is involved in the direct manufacture of B vitamins, especially folic acid and B12, as well as vitamin K, which is so important for bone health and heart health, and for the absorption of iron and calcium. So we need to have a really healthy gut for this to all occur, and of course, also for digesting our food. So let's talk a little bit about prebiotic fibers. You're going to hear a lot about prebiotics because they are the food for your probiotics. And like I said, they're stable, so we don't have to worry about them dying in transit. And the prebiotic fiber that I love is guar fiber. And this is found in B regular, and I'm going to talk about that product in a minute. The research behind B regular is very exciting. We know that it enhances a particular probiotic called bifidobacterium. It also reduces blood sugar. It has many other health benefits. It improves the absorption of nutrients. It aids serotonin function. It reduces inflammation, supports immune function, is involved in creating short-chain fatty acids, which are superstars in our gut. It also has been shown to help with fatty liver, decreasing cholesterol, treating irritable bowel syndrome, and all of the basics, you know, the gas, the burping, the bloating, the constipation, the diarrhea, all of those things. And so it's important that we eat lots of vegetables as well. I cannot stress this enough. They should be organic. And dirt is good for us. When I talk about the immune system, you'll understand how important dirt is. And, you know, when I was a kid, we used to go out in my mom's garden and pull the carrots up, wipe them off and eat them. That actually created a really good, healthy microbiome. Fermented foods are important, nuts and seeds, live food. So food that has not been packaged. So we want to have as many of those types of foods, you know, organic, lactic acid, fermented vegetables, as much of the fermented food and live fresh fruits and vegetables that you can consume. And we need 35 grams of fiber per day. I really love this B regular. It goes completely clear in water. It does not make it all gloopy. It doesn't have any taste. We kind of call it magic water because your gut, within a few weeks, your digestive system is going to transform. And you've got to start looking at your poop because it tells you everything about what is going on in your digestive system. So if we look at constipation, you know, that's when we have like hard pellets, jelly beans. Even the firm shaped, lumpy, filled candy nut bar look is not good. You need to be taking at least 1 scoop of B regular a day. Then a normal bowel movement looks like the center where you have, you know, shaped like a snake. You should have 3 4-inch bowel movements a day or 1 12-inch bowel movement per day. So if you're not, that is because you are not getting enough prebiotic fiber. And of course, diarrhea is definitely not good. You're losing way too many nutrients when your stool is all watery like that. And B regular comes in this pink container and it's absolutely awesome. It also has probiotics in it. And in Canada, the probiotics have to be alive at expiry. So you can be guaranteed that you're getting both, but the prebiotic fiber is the key here. And I love to hear back from people after they've been taking it for a while to tell me how fantastic their digestive system works. So what can we expect when we heal the gut? Clear skin, and we can have better moods. We're going to have hormone balance because our digestive system is where our hormones are detoxified and where our happy hormone is, serotonin is produced. You're going to have less seasonal allergies. You're going to have improved brain fog. You're going to have improved absorption of your nutrients, less food sensitivities, less allergies in general, a much stronger immune system, and less pain. Who would have thought that your digestive tract is involved in having less pain? So let's talk about your immune system, because they are totally intertwined. Now that you know that 70% of your immune system sits in your gut, and you have to have a good, healthy gut to have a healthy immune system. So the two go hand in hand. And your immune system is made up of microscopic cells, so things you can't see unless you look under a microscope. And it's also made up of things you can see, like your skin, which is the largest immune organ, your tears, your saliva, and your stomach digestive juices. They contain immune factors, so immune cells that kill off things that get in there. So think about it right now. We're going into winter. Everyone's got their heat on. The house is drying out. We're drying out. And you get exposed to something, and you're touching your finger to the corner of your eye and the corner of your nose and the corner of your mouth hundreds of times a day. Every time we do, we could be introducing germs, bacteria, infectious agents. So the immune system has immune factors in the liquid, in your tears, the mucus in your nose, the saliva, all of these things to kill off invaders before they get in there. Then we have immune organs like your thymus gland, which sits behind your breastbone. You should tap that 10 times a day to stimulate your thymus gland. That's where immune cells are made. Your tonsils, which some people of my generation had taken out, they don't do that so much anymore, because they know that your tonsils and your adenoids are part of your immune system. They're going after invaders that come in through your mouth. Your spleen is involved in this. Your lymph glands, when you get sick, your lymph glands will swell up. You see them in your neck, in your armpits, and your groin. And then bone marrow is where your B cells are produced. And these are all cells of the immune system, and they all work together. It's a huge army constantly seeking, recognizing, and destroying cancer, viruses, bacteria, fungi, and all the things that we get exposed to on a daily basis. So when you're born, you pretty much don't have very much immune system. You get a tiny bit from your mom if you were delivered through the vaginal canal, and you get some through breast milk, but your immune system develops over time. So every time you get a cold or flu, or you're exposed to things like bacteria or viruses, this is how your immune system grows and develops. So it's important, especially there's this whole movement now not to have a super clean house, because we want our children to be exposed to dirt, so they develop a nice, strong immune system. A dog licking your face when you're a baby is not a bad thing. Then we have natural barriers, which we just talked about: vaginal secretions, mucus, sweat, skin, tears, digestive factors. These are all involved in protecting you from invaders that get in. Then we have acquired immunity. So if you're in my generation, we got measles, we got mumps, we got chicken pox. If we survived, we developed lifelong immunity. And so those of us who had those conditions, we're lucky, because we're never going to get them again, because we already had them when we were kids. We produced antibodies. Antibodies are the immune system warriors. If you've got antibodies and you see measles again, the immune system says, halt, you can't come in here. You already had measles once. So acquired immunity is fantastic. Cellular immunity is all the little microscopic cells inside the body that recognize different invaders. This is actually a macrophage. This is a microscope view of a macrophage. These macrophages, they engulf and digest invaders, and 1 teaspoon of white sugar shuts them off for 5 hours. So if you are a sugar addict, your gut is not going to be happy. So you're not going to have a lot of good guys in your gut, which means you will probably be overweight simply because you don't have a lot of good guys in your gut. And then your immune system isn't going to work as well because 1 teaspoon of white sugar shuts them off for 5 hours. So how do we know that we have signs of immune dysfunction? Well, frequent colds and flu, viral infections, candida infections, herpes outbreaks, cold sores, IBS, gas, bloating, Crohn's, allergies, asthma, chronic runny nose, autoimmune diseases. This is where the immune system becomes confused, and instead of attacking a virus or a bacteria, it turns on the body's tissue. We see rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, multiple sclerosis. These are all autoimmune conditions. Psoriasis is another one. They even now believe that Parkinson's is an autoimmune condition. Painful swollen joints and muscles, all the skin conditions like psoriasis and eczema and hives and acne, inflammatory disorders, HPV warts. We're going to see an epidemic of HPV throat cancer in the future. It's supposedly going to be the next biggest cancer wave. So why is our immune system letting us down? Why is our gut so unhappy? Inadequate nutrition. All of us eat well. And when I do a lot of nutritional counseling, and people always tell me they have an excellent diet, and then I ask them to do a diet diary and write down every single thing that they put in their mouth. And one of the things we find is the nutrition is just not adequate. Things like vegetables and fruit that are going to build good guys in your digestive tract, fermented products, things like yogurt, but organic yogurt, not the fake yogurt. Stress and a lack of sleep are also huge at disrupting the gut microbiome and causing your immune system become very, very weak. As well as toxic overload. Our children receive 35% of their lifetime toxic load of environmental pollutants by the age of 5. And I discovered that they are spraying streptomycin and tetracycline, both common antibiotics, on vegetables, especially the green leafy vegetables. So always buy organic, always, 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 if you can. And 1 in 6 bacterial infections are now antibiotic resistant. That means the germs and the bugs are outsmarting the drugs. Not a good scenario. Depression, sadness, loneliness, they contribute to poor immunity and to digestive problems. And so if you know someone who's lonely, go visit them, call them. And we are too clean. We need to have more dirt. That's essential to have a strong, healthy immune system and a happy gut. So let's talk a little bit about inflammation. Inflammation is the immune system's first response to injury or invaders. So if you slip and fall on the ice and you sprain your ankle, it's going to get red, hot, painful, and swollen. That is inflammation you can see. So then you know you have inflammation. But inflammation that we can't see, what we call chronic inflammation inside the body, is the dangerous inflammation. The short-term inflammation is good. It's needed to destroy invaders, clean up a damaged area, and create repair. But when it happens long-term in joints, our gut, our brain, this is very, very dangerous inflammation. And the gut and the immune system are heavily involved in all of the inflammatory reactions that we see. So how do you know if you have an inflammatory condition? Anything that has itis on the end, I-T-I-S, colitis, sinusitis, thyroiditis, tendinitis, myocarditis. These are all inflammatory conditions. Arthritis, of course, is the most common, we all know about. Mastitis, if you've ever had that when you were breastfeeding. So this is inflammation gone bad. Inflammation that hangs around long-term causes destruction in the body. And then we have the immune system that is totally confused, and that is where we get autoimmune diseases. We have seen a huge rise in autoimmune diseases. They predominantly affect women, and they are 80% of autoimmune diseases are found in women. So they believe there's a hormone connection. And it is believed that these autoimmune diseases are initiated by a prior infection. So you may have had a really bad cold or flu, possibly COVID, and this very, very bad infection is actually finally gone, but the immune system doesn't think it's gone. It still thinks it's there and starts damaging tissue. In the case of rheumatoid arthritis, the immune system will keep attacking the joint until it literally destroys it. So autoimmune diseases are very, very serious. We know they are linked to prior bacterial or viral infections, leaky gut. So there we go again. It's the digestive system, and toxic pesticide overload is another one. So we've got to have a balanced immune system. And I like this teeter-totter because it kind of gives you an idea of what's going on. We're under stress when we have too much stress. So this is way too much stress, which I think most of us are under, especially if you're female, you're working, you have a family, you're cleaning your house, you're getting ready for the holidays. I know for myself, that's always a big one. Too much stress, too many toxins, too many environmental overloads, not good food, not good sleep. And what happens? Cortisol, your stress hormone, goes up. On the flip side, your DHEA, which is your anti-aging hormone, it is also your immune function hormone, drops. When cortisol goes up and DHEA drops, this is what we see happen. We get more inflammatory conditions, more autoimmune disorders, more chronic inflammation. We see more allergies. We see ADHD in kids. On the flip side, when your DHEA drops, you age faster, you get more cancer, chronic infections like HPV, as well as herpes, heart disease, and increased aging. So we don't want this to be going on. We want to fix this problem. We want to get the immune system back in a balanced state. Do we boost the immune system? No. Boosting the immune system actually makes things worse. You want to balance the immune system. So we're going to talk about now, what is the solution? You've learned your gut is messed up, your immune system is not so happy. How do we get in this state of balance where we feel fantastic, where we no longer have gas, burping, bloating, constipation, or diarrhea, where we have energy, where we feel fabulous, and our skin looks awesome? So lifestyle. I'm not going to talk about this too much because people want to eat the way their mom taught them to eat. They really don't want to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, but we should be eating 5 cups of vegetables per day. So we need to eat more fruits and vegetables because 70% of your immune system's in your gut. And if you're not a vegetable person, then you definitely better be on B regular. I love B regular. I eat lots of vegetables, but I take it as well. And we want to just get the digestive system really working well. And then 95% of your happy hormone is made in your small intestine. So if you're depressed, sad, have anxiety, or all of these mood shifts, then you definitely need to work on getting your digestive system in balance. And we have to sleep. And on my social media at Lorna Vanderheg, and I also have another one, Lorna VH, that you can also look at, but I have a whole thing on how to go to sleep. Sleep is just so important because less sleep or poor sleep and inflammation ramps up. So we need to lower our stress, and deep breathing is a great way to do that. We have to lower our cortisol levels. Moducare is the only supplement shown to lower cortisol and increase DHEA. And we did a study in marathon runners who have the highest levels of cortisol, and they subsequently have the lowest levels of DHEA, and they get a lot of colds and flu. And their bodies are under huge strain and stress. You know, you've all heard about the marathon runner who runs the Boston Marathon and then drops dead of heart attack at the end. That is what happens when your cortisol is super high and your DHEA is super low. So Moducare is the only supplement sold in the market, and I've been doing this for a long time now, that increases DHEA naturally. We don't have to take a hormone to make it happen, and it lowers cortisol. It has been clinically researched in many, many conditions, but we definitely want to get this DHEA up to normal and lower the cortisol so that we can get our immune system into harmony. Moducare has been around for over 25 years now. They have done double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trials. They have done clinical trials in everything from the marathon runner study, where they showed it increases DHEA and lowers cortisol. They've also done allergy studies in kids. So they have it in two forms, a chewable and in capsules. It also aids the body in battling viral infections, like serious ones like HIV, HPV, herpes, respiratory infections. It also has been researched in rheumatoid arthritis, and it is generally a supplement you take every day to keep your immune system balanced. I love the little chewables. I have them on my desk. I eat them all the time. They're great flavored, no sugar, and they're quite yummy. And this contains two ingredients. Moducare contains beta-sitosterol and beta-sitosterol and glucosides. This is not sterols for lowering cholesterol. This is specific to your immune system. And somebody had asked if you could use this for psoriasis. And the answer is absolutely. I would take Moducare along with B regular to get your gut and your immune system back into balance. Vitamin D3 is also imperative for your gut and for your immune system. It is literally the immunity vitamin. Everyone needs vitamin D3 from birth to death. Everyone, every single person, especially if you live in the north. And right now, everyone is bundled up with toques and scarves and long warm coats and boots. And we need to be naked in the sunshine for a minimum of 20 minutes a day in order to make enough vitamin D. And so we aren't. And vitamin D is a very inexpensive nutrient, and everybody needs to be taking it, including your children and especially pregnant women. It works so well to fight all kinds of microbes in the body. It is the only vitamin known to reduce cancers of the breast and the colon. So if you have a family history of those two cancers, you better be on adequate vitamin D. It is used to treat autoimmune diseases like multiple sclerosis and lupus, and they put people on super high doses who have those conditions. It also increases glutathione, which is the best detoxifier in the body. And so how much would you take? Well, kids should be on 1,000 IUs per day, and I would do that from the time they're very, very little. And adults, so Health Canada finally changed the dosage of vitamin D3 to 2,500 IUs a day. Finally. In the summer, that's fine. In the winter in Canada, you better be on 5,000 IUs a day. And it's cheap, cheap, cheap to get all these great benefits. Vitamin D3 is also used for bone health. I could list off 100 things that vitamin D3 is good for. But because we're specifically talking about the immune system and the gut and cancer and viral infections and autoimmune disease, this is really where you want to make sure you're on vitamin D. So that was number 3. Number 1 was be regular. Number 2 was Moducare. Number 3 is vitamin D3. Number 4 is iron. So iron deficiency is the most common nutrient deficiency in children and adults. You cannot make your hormones if you do not have adequate iron levels. So especially serotonin, you have to have iron to make serotonin and estrogen. So if you are iron deficient, and I just think about how many women are iron deficient, not even anemic, but iron deficient, and 2 heavy periods in a row, and you are anemic. So we need to get your iron levels up to have a healthy functioning immune system and gut, and to get your hormones balanced. And they found out in 2021 that low iron reduces the action of your T cells. These are crucial cells. These are the microscopic cells of the immune system that destroy infectious agents. And T cells need a large amount of iron. And if iron is scarce, they cannot make energy and are not able to fight viruses and other infectious agents. And this is why kids who are low in iron are continually getting colds and flu at school. If your kid is always sick, you really should get their iron checked. People with low iron do not make antibodies. So here we have the elderly population that goes and has a vaccine for the flu or for pneumonia or whatever it is, but they do not have enough iron because they're anemic, they're pale, their hair is falling out, their fingernails are peeling. Those are signs of being anemic or low in iron. And they can't make antibodies, so they're not even getting protected from their vaccine. We should be getting 20 milligrams of iron from our diet, but we are only getting 8. So we need to supplement, and I recommend that everybody takes 10 milligrams of elemental iron per day, especially kids, women, elderly, seniors, men, athletes, everyone. And this is my favorite iron, and this is my daughter's company, and the sun is blasting in my eyes here, which is really nice to have sunshine here in Vancouver. So this is my daughter's iron. It is excellent. That's all I can say. And they have baby drops of iron. They have regular iron that is so delicious. There's no sugar in it. It does not turn your teeth gray. You don't get constipated. Her liquid iron has double the dose of the competitor liquid irons, and it's cheaper. And it comes in tiny little chewable tablets that kids like, that adults like, that people love. It has no taste whatsoever. It's an absolutely excellent product. Let's talk about vitamin C. We cannot make vitamin C. Humans cannot make vitamin C. They have to eat it. And only 9% of Canadians are getting adequate levels of vitamin C. And I don't know if you saw the news a couple of weeks ago, but scurvy is on the rise in Canada because people cannot afford to buy orange juice or foods that are high in vitamin C. Can you believe in this day and age that humans are developing scurvy, a disease of the 17 and 1800s? So vitamin C is needed for a healthy immune system. It's antibacterial. It is also involved for healthy aging. It controls overactive immune function. And you want to get yourself a really good vitamin C. I love the chewable vitamin C's that KidStar Nutrients has. Give them a try. They're absolutely yummy. They also are the right kind of vitamin C. You want to make sure your vitamin C is buffered. And what does that mean? So vitamin C is called ascorbate or ascorbic acid. When we buffer it, then we put something like magnesium or potassium or calcium. We join it together and make a brand new molecule. You never get tummy upset. It's very, very well absorbed, and it tastes good. It's good for you. So 1,000 milligrams 3 times a day would be adequate. Fermented foods, this is where you want to have kombucha, kefir, miso, sauerkraut, apple cider vinegar, not the kind you buy in the grocery store, but apple cider vinegar, the real kind that's made with a mother. Kimchi and organic yogurts that are actually made with bacteria, good, healthy bacteria. So you want to have lots of fermented foods mixed in. Why? Most of us eat the same food on rotate every week. It's easier, right? We buy the same groceries, we make 5 different meals, and then we rotate them for the next week. That's not so good when you're trying to heal your gut. Your digestive system will make a very diverse kind of microbiome if you mix up the food you eat. So it's important that you do that. So give yourself a mixture of, throw in some fermented foods. I can't say enough about organic yogurt that is not sweetened with a pile of sugar. You throw the fruit or the other goodies in it. One of my favorite ones is I took leftover cranberry sauce from Thanksgiving and that I made homemade, no sugar, a little bit of maple syrup, and threw it in with yogurt. So good for your gut. So, you know, mix it up. You don't want to eat the same foods over and over and over again, because then you make a very poorly diverse gut bacteria. You want to have really healthy, robust gut bacteria. So here is the supplement program for your immune system and your gut. And okay, back to food. You're now going to eat, you know, fruits and vegetables. You're going to vary your diet. You are going to eat more fermented foods like organic yogurt or miso. Those are great things to get your guts working better. I have a tablespoon of lactic acid fermented sauerkraut every day. I have my own jar of sauerkraut in the fridge, and I just have a scoop to get my good guys going in my gut. You want to go on Be Regular Prebiotic Fiber with probiotics. So the probiotics are already in there. You only need 1 scoop a day. And hey, the whole family can have it. If you've got a toddler with terrible constipation, it's safe for them too. And you want to take Moducare. And Moducare is a daily immune supplement. And you can either do 3 capsules a day or 3 chewable tablets. And it also has a kid's dose on it. Vitamin D3, kids would have 1,000 IUs a day. Adults would have 2,500 to 5,000 IUs a day. Vitamin C, I would do 3,000 milligrams per day. And if you get a product you really like the KidStar Vitamin C chewable with no sugar in it, no junk, you're going to easily be able to take that. And then the iron I recommend is the BioFe Iron. It's micronized and microencapsulated. It has great absorption. You don't get any constipation, no tummy upset, and it increases your hemoglobin and ferritin. And then eat a varied diet of fresh foods. And you know, we're heading into the holiday season where everybody's going to be consuming a lot of alcohol and a lot of sugary treats. And so this is a great time to start your program now today, because let's counteract some of that with Moducare and Be Regular. And if you do get sick, increase your vitamin C and increase your Moducare, and, you know, take good care of yourself. Drink lots of hot fluids. KidStar Nutrients is the distributor of Be Regular, Moducare, and BioFe Iron. They also have a great D3 spray. They have vitamin C as well. And they're giving 15% off to all the participants on the webinar today. And you just go to their website at kidstarnutrients.com and you use the code GUT15, GUT15, and you can get a discount on the purchase that you make. And so now I'm going to answer some of the questions in the chat box. And oh yeah, if you want to get a hold of me, you can email me at lorna@lornahealth.com, and I will answer your questions. So I'm just going to read a few of these as we go through the list here. So surgical wound infection, subsequent surgery, strong antibiotics, and you haven't felt well since. Okay, so this is very, very common because sometimes we have to take antibiotics. We have absolutely no choice. If you've got an infection, it is the way to treat the infection, and so we have no choice. So how do we get our gut working properly again? You want to use Be Regular. And if you've had been on antibiotics, I would double the dose. So maybe take a scoop in water. It goes completely clear in water, no gloop, no grit. You wouldn't even know it's there, no taste whatsoever. So you have one of those in the morning and then another scoop in the afternoon if you're recovering from antibiotics. And then I really recommend that you get yourself some really good miso from the health food store, and make yourself miso that you just drink in a cup like tea. That also gets your gut going. And, you know, start and eat soups that have a lot of vegetables in them. You know, you can puree the soup, and then you're getting even more fruit vegetables than you would if you didn't. Ginger and garlic. So ginger and garlic, I'd grate them on top of foods. I just take the ginger, I wash it, and then I dry it off and I throw it in the freezer. I don't even peel it. And then when you make food, I just grate it on top of everything. So onions that are sauteed, not fried black, but sauteed soft, ginger and garlic. Those three things are very healing for the gut. So we want to get the good guys growing again inside your digestive tract. That's very important. And then take Moducare. Anybody who's had a serious illness of any kind needs to really support their immune system and increase your vitamin C. And yes, bloating will happen. So one thing people have to remember, don't drink fluids while you're eating. If you have digestive problems, eat your food, chew your food until it is absolute mush. There is no garburator in the gut. And don't drink fluids while you eat. That just dilutes your digestive enzymes and stomach acid. And get yourself a good digestive enzyme as well in the health food store and take them with everything you eat to help break down your food until we get your digestive system working properly. There's been a weird flu going around where people have no appetite and they just feel nauseous all the time. And so, you know, that's also happening as well. Okay, I'm just going to answer this question on HRT for postmenopausal women. First off, I think that we should get tested. So, you know, have your progesterone checked. If you're not getting periods anymore, it doesn't matter when you get it checked, but have your progesterone levels checked, get your testosterone level checked. Those two can be done in blood. Also, you know, get the full panel of all of your other blood work done at the same time. I'm going to do a talk on anti-aging. When I was getting ready for this talk today, I found one of my older presentations on anti-aging, and I thought, we need to do this talk so we can really get into how we can extend our life and feel vibrant while we're at it. So with HRT, if you don't have any symptoms, I don't think you need HRT. If you do have symptoms and none of the natural things are working for you after you've consistently tried them for 90 days, then I would start small. Go on progesterone. And I like Prometrium because it has been prescribed now for over 30 years. It is, and your doctor knows what it is. They don't think it's anything weird. Prometrium is bioidentical micronized progesterone. And start with a small dose at bedtime. You take it at bedtime because it helps you sleep. That may be enough. Progesterone is used by your body to make estrogen and testosterone. You don't have to start with big doses. It's way easier to go up to something than to wean off. With hormones, that's especially true. So most women don't need hormones. Some women do. How long do we take them? Not long. And you should be monitored to make sure that you're not getting super high levels of estrogen, which are not safe. That's the other thing. There's this whole thing around lectins. And, you know, if you're a vegetarian and you're consuming a lot of beans and a lot of products that have lectins in them, my recommendation is you cook your beans, then you freeze them, then you make them into whatever you want. It makes life easy anyways, because you can cook a big pot of beans or lentils, and then you can freeze them. And when you thaw them and eat them, they don't give you any gas. And a lot of these ingredients are broken down. But I think at this point, I would just be happy if people ate vegetables, good old vegetables, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, cabbage, kale, potatoes. Hey, if you bake the potato and then you put it in the fridge overnight and you rebake it, it also drops the glycemic index of the potato so you can actually enjoy your potato. We have to eat vegetables, that is for sure. Am I going to talk about high blood pressure? Well, blood pressure is interesting, you know, because if you think about it, for women especially, it's important that we know what our cardiovascular state is. How do we lower blood pressure? What nutrients work? Well, first off, you've got to drop your weight. That is key. You've got to get your gut working properly because your digestive system is involved with what's going on with your liver, with your immune system, with inflammation. And so we've got to get the digestive tract working well so that our blood pressure also goes down. Interestingly enough, they tell everyone to stop eating salt when you have high blood pressure, yet you need salt for your adrenal glands, which are on top of your kidneys and which are involved in helping you deal with stress. And when you become salt deficient, your adrenals don't work properly. So everything is in moderation. Losing weight, walking, just walk. After dinner, go for a very, very long walk. Get one of those watches that tracks how many steps you do a day. Do 10,000 steps a day. And then you want magnesium bisglycinate, 200 milligrams at bedtime, and look for fish peptides. That's different than fish oil to help lower your blood pressure. I can do a talk when I do the anti-aging presentation. So if you've signed up for my newsletter at lornahealth.com, you'll get notified when I do the anti-aging talk, which will have a big component on cardiovascular disease. Yeah, if you can't eat fermented foods right now, then you work on what I said. If you get a lot of gas and bloating, go on Be Regular. In 3 weeks, it should start to improve. Chew your food until it is mush. And we eat way too much food. Like the side plate is about how much food we should eat. We're eating the dinner plate, and sometimes we eat 2 of the dinner plate. It's too much food. And if you've got a lot of gas and bloating, then you also may want to start making homemade soup and pureeing it because it's already broken down. And then eat slowly and sit in a chair when you eat, not stand, not at your bar. Actually sit at a table, sit, rest, and eat while you eat. And remember, there is no carburetor in your stomach, so the food has to be chewed up till it's mush. And for women, if you have chronic bloating from your belly button to your pubic bone, you need an ultrasound. Bloating is a sign, one of the many signs of ovarian cancer. So many women are suffering with bloating. I always say to them, go have an ultrasound just to rule out that there's no problems going on in that part of your body. And most of these things that we have wrong, like when people tell me I have high histamine, I can't eat fermented foods, after we get your digestive system working properly, you can eat. You can eat everything. So we've got to start slow. If someone's on Accutane, would Be Regular help with that? Well, if they're on Accutane for acne, they need to go on EstroSmart and take 4 capsules a day of EstroSmart. And let's get their gut fixed, because remember, what's going on in your skin is going on in your gut. It starts in the gut first. So let's get your digestive system working well. Go on EstroSmart to lower the testosterone levels in the skin that's causing this horrible acne. How does one know their DHEA levels? Great question. Go to the doctor and ask for a DHEAS. There's a little S on the end of that blood test, and they will tell you what your DHEA levels are. Women with autoimmune diseases generally have super, super low DHEA levels. And DHEA is your mother hormone. It's what all your hormones are made from. So it starts at the top. DHEA goes to pregnenolone, then it goes to progesterone, then progesterone goes over here to testosterone, and then the next you get estrogen. So it's important to get your DHEA level checked, and it is an anti-aging hormone. So when it's super, super low, we age faster. Oh, this is a great question. Someone's been taking Moducare since it came on the market. I've been involved with Moducare since 1997, and my family's been taking Moducare for a very, very long time. Our animals took Moducare too, and so you're giving it to your kitties. We did early research in cats that had FIV, so it's the feline immunovirus. And the cats didn't die, and they looked fantastic. So If you have a 10-pound cat, you can definitely give them Moducare, and I would open up the capsule and pour it on their food, and one a day would be just great. And Moducare is something you can take for life. We have people who have had rheumatoid arthritis that were on Humira, and they got off the Humira, and they've been on Moducare ever since. I have been taking Moducare now since 1998 and will take it forever. I think it is fantastic for lowering cortisol and increasing DHEA. Can Moducare help with lichen planus? Absolutely. That is one of the hardest conditions to treat. I know there were people who had it inside their mouth, and also women who got it on their labia, along with lichen sclerosis, and they were able to correct it. They also used topical GLA on the actual skin as well. Amazon sells a bunch of different Moducare products. Moducare is Moducare is Moducare. And if you want to make sure you're getting the correct Moducare, go to moducare.com or kidstarnutrients.com, and you can buy it direct from them. And Moducare also sells KidStar Nutrients Moducare as well. But if you want the 15% off deal, then you would go to kidstarnutrients.com with the code. What about eczema and psoriasis in small children and babies? Okay, so we know that babies, infants, and children who get eczema, which is so common, 90% of kids, up to 90% of kids under the age of 5 will have some type of eczema. And so it's because their immune system is really suffering. I mean, Moducare can be taken by children as soon as they can chew properly with the little chewables. But for infants, what we use for my daughter, of course, you want to make sure that they get good probiotics. You can have infant probiotics. One of the ones that we have always used with our kids is BioGaia. BioGaia, BioGaia. It also works for colic. And then the other thing is if you're breastfeeding, that's great because your kids are going to get mom's immune factors. And if they were vaginally delivered, they got more of mom's immune system through it all. But for infants who have eczema, you want to make sure they're on really good probiotic like BioGaia for the babies. As soon as they're toddlers, they can take B regular, which will then get their gut working properly. And topically, I would get GLA. Test it first. Do not just slather something on the skin without testing a little spot to make sure the child is okay with it. But it's such a challenge because we know that in infants who have eczema, they have much higher rates food allergies and asthma later in life. So we've got to get that immune system corrected. So once they can chew a soft tablet, then they can go on Moducare chewables. They can take B regular from the time that they start walking and can drink water. And then you just use a smaller amount. I would assume this would be done through your family doctor via a blood test. Oh, if you're asking about iron, yes, you would have iron tested. Maybe you could say exactly what should be tested, but if we're testing DHEA, it's your doctor. And it's covered by medical, and it's not a freaky test that your doctor will be all confused about. Just say, I want to have my DHEAS tested, and they'll do it for you. It's inexpensive and simple to do. Is vitamin D with K better or no difference? Well, the reason why we have vitamin D and vitamin D3 and vitamin K2 together is for bone health and for heart health. That's why. But remember at the beginning of the talk, once we get your good guys going in your gut, you're going to make vitamin K2. The reason why we are so deficient in vitamin K2 is because we don't eat enough of the foods that make vitamin K2 in our digestive system. And yes, vitamin D and vitamin K are better combined because they also are cofactors for one another. But mainly it was originally sold was for cardiovascular health and bone health, putting the two together. What is Moducare? Moducare is and I'll go back to the Moducare slide so that you can see what it is. Moducare is beta-cytosterol and beta-cytosterolin glucosides. These are two ingredients. They come from pine plants, and they have been clinically researched in a ratio of 100 to 1 for all of these different health conditions. Can I show the supplements that I recommend with each meal? Oh, okay. Well, I tried to have the Be Regular. Let's go here. That's what the bottle looks like. Be Regular. Last talk I did, someone went and bought Gut Smart. It is not the same thing. So this is Be Regular. It has prebiotic fiber and probiotic in it. And then if we're looking at Moducare, show you what the bottle looks like so that people who are wondering if it's the real McCoy, this is the chewable. It's purple. The capsules are green, in a green bottle. And when do you take things? That's a great question. This is what the iron looks like so that people know where that is. And I think that Akane has put into the chat box a link so you can actually go there if you want. What causes consistent daily floating stools? Oh, you're not digesting your food. This is why. So when we go back to this slide where I showed what your poop should look like, you're not digesting your food properly. So when we end up with bowel movements that look like type 5, type 6, and type 7, you are not digesting your food properly. That is why. There's too much water in the stool, and a lot of also fluid that is being pushed out of the body through that. You're just not digesting your food, which means you're not getting the nutrients you need either, or the nutrients, everything's shooting through the body too quickly. Be Regular is a true regulating fiber. So it will treat your constipation if you have hard stools, and it will get your diarrhea to look like the middle. 3 and 4 is what we want. And, you know, if you're straining and working and sitting on the toilet for a very long time, that is not a good thing. This will solve all of that for you, and there will be no, 45 minutes on the toilet every day. When do you take supplements? So I always take them with food. So unless the bottle says not to take with food, but I always take all my supplements with food. With Be Regular, you can just put it in your water bottle and drink it throughout the day. You can just add it and drink it whenever. It never goes slimy like some of the other fibers, so you don't have to worry about that. If the bottle tells you to eat it on an empty, take it something on an empty stomach, the way I do it is I take, say, 2 capsules at bedtime and 1 when I wake up in the morning, because then I'll be sure to have an empty stomach because I haven't been up grazing in the middle of the night. Is EstroSmart okay for a teenage boy? Absolutely. We want to get their testosterone back into balance. It's for both teenage boys and for women. So it balances your testosterone levels. It works like a charm on teenage boys, especially who have acne on their back, or bodybuilders who get terrible back acne. Okay. Oh, let's see. Can I take Be Regular in addition to a probiotic? Absolutely. Make sure your probiotic has been taken good care of, because now you know that a lot of them are dead because they aren't manufactured properly. So whatever probiotic you're on, you want a really good quality probiotic, but you don't really need it if you're on Be Regular because it already has probiotic in it. You could supplement with, say, yogurt, or I like BioFe. They have little pots that they sell in the grocery store in the refrigerator section. Even Save-On sells BioFe. But you don't really need a probiotic when you're on Be Regular, so you can save yourself some money. Are eggs okay to eat with Crohn's? Well, that's a difficult question. You know, some people with Crohn's do quite fine on eggs and other people do not. I think with Crohn's or any of the bowel disorders, the IBS or irritable bowel syndromes or inflammatory bowel diseases, what we really want to do is get the gut working properly, and be regular would be something that you'd want to go on. Monitor what happens, give it 3 weeks and see how you feel. And then start trying the foods that you would like to eat and, do a little bit of something. We always tend to do too much. So start small. Okay. I am just about done. Yes, there is a recording. We're going to send it out to everybody. Yeah, getting adequate protein is often a challenge for people. And protein powders are great for some people. I buy just straight plain whey and add it into my shake with my veggies all whizzed up as well. I'm a big fan of, even when I make cookies, I put ground vegetables in them. Nobody can even tell. So you have to get really creative at getting all that vegetables in there. Anyways, it's 1 scoop of Be Regular to a cup of water, and you can add it to your big water bottle throughout the day. It has been so great to talk to all of you. You're going to get a copy of the presentation. Go to KidStar Nutrients. Hey, check out their vitamin D. It's so yummy. Anyways, take care, everybody. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon. Bye-bye.